This is so exciting. I'm truly so excited to have this conversation because we talk about why I decreased the monthly rates, the investment of my signature program, the Voicepreneur program. This is so fun. Okay, why is it so fun? Well, first, I always want to share a behind the scenes look at how I operate my businesses, whether that's for the Voicepreneur or whether that's for the whole voice, or now a big, beautiful noise choir, which is kind of its own entity. Well, it is its own entity. And really, how these inner workings come into play. So pricing is huge. It's huge. It's honestly one of the biggest questions I get asked from voice teacher clients, from people inside of the Voicepreneur program, like, how do I price my offer? And I'm going to start actually with the answer that I give. And the answer that I give is, it is an experiment. Pricing is an experiment, okay? And when you can really wrap your mind around that and you can seriously take a breath, let go of the fact that you will never quite know what the exact right price, whatever that actually, means, or whatever the pinpointed price is that really gets in the right number of sales, the right number of people. You're never going to know that unless you experiment. It's just how it goes. And so that is really what I did in 2025. And so I want to backtrack for a second and kind of give you a glimpse on how I actually operate the Voicepreneur program, because those of you especially who have memberships or have been thinking about offering a membership or like the idea of monthly recurring revenue, because hello, who does not love that? You're really going to want to listen to this. And as always, I always want to share this with the intention of you getting inspired, getting strategic about how you operate your business. Okay. So here's how this has worked. And I actually do have notes. I'm going to try very hard not to go off of my notes too much, but there is a lot to say about this conversation. So, how VP has worked. Basically, what has happened over the last 4 or 5 years is every time I added a new course or a new whatever offer, resource, whatever it is, usually it's a program, it's a course. Whenever I had offered something new inside of the Voicepreneur program, I was essentially increasing the rates. Right? I mean, it only makes sense. So if it starts with one program, then you have one rate. And then as you add your second program, then you're going to increase the rate to match the two offers, right? And et cetera, and et cetera. And so that's kind of how this has always worked. However, this has been going on for okay, I opened the Voicepreneur program. There's kind of two different openings here. There was one in 2021 and then there's one in 2022. So the one that I'm really thinking about, 2022, where it was like literally the Voicepreneur program with that exact title and this intention of helping you break out of one-on-one lessons, which is not the original intention that it was in 2021. That's a separate story. So what is that? That's going to be almost 4 years. We're almost at 4 years of this program existing. And so there have been members inside of this program actually literally for 5 years, people who were in it in 2021, and they have been paying the same rate, $25 a month, which is what I started it as, for the last however many years that is, right? Since the beginning, because I grandfathered them in. And this is a pricing strategy that I do recommend. I think the grandfather method, oh my God, I can't say that. Grandfather method is such a great method because, it really builds loyalty with your students. It enables that retentive rate. Like it keeps them in there because they're like, whoa, wait, that's the price that you're offering now? Oh my goodness. Like if that's the price that you're offering now, then I'm going to stay in at this low price that I'm in, right? And we love that from a strategic, like recurring revenue standpoint. But from a client and community standpoint, that was actually one of the factors, which I will get into, around why I changed the price, because there were people in there that had been paying the same price and they didn't necessarily feel like they needed to come to all the calls and they had been in it for a long time. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's really how I've been doing this. And why I changed it up and what happened in 2025 was in 2025, I realized that there were a lot of people who were paying these very, very accessible, very affordable, like way too low pricing for the value that I was giving. over, again, accumulating over the last 4 years. Like you start accumulating a lot of programs and a lot of curriculums, right? And so I had to make a choice. And it was basically like, okay, well, I can either keep this going as it is and continue building it as a membership. And like, when I think about membership, there's kind of like, there's a lot of levels to this because you can have this like, again, $25 a month membership, that tons and tons and tons, hundreds of people are joining. Like you can do Facebook ads and you can do, collaborations and all kinds of ways to get people in the door so easy at that price point because it's nice and low. And then you're making lots of money, but how is the loyalty? What is the quality of those students? Are they actually doing the work? Right? And so this is a question you always have to ask yourself when you are thinking about these levels of memberships, because the higher level membership, the one that is more intimate, right? More depth, more quality. And this is for any type of offer, like any offer that you are offering. If you have a higher price point, you are going to get higher quality clients, period, right? And so that's kind of what I was thinking about when I was thinking about this. It's like, I went into this building this membership, but now I'm really, really desiring more depth. I'm desiring more quality. I'm desiring less quantity. I mean, I was offering so much in 2025. I was holding like 12 private voice teacher clients, like one-on-ones, 12 of them at a time. I was doing my choir. I was doing the Voicepreneur program where there were like, 10, 15 people on a call. It was just, I was holding a lot. And also, oh, hey, I had just had a baby. And my baby was like less than 1 a year ago, right? So it was crazy. And I was desiring, again, more quality and more depth and less quantity. I wanted a simpler model overall. Like I wanted a simpler model that gave me a streamlined process. And so I basically had a choice. I had a choice between two things. I could either raise the rates of the Voicepreneur program to be this more all-inclusive, higher quality, more depth, more intimate support, more one-on-one, more all of that, right? Or keep the rates as is, but give them half the value. Because again, going back to that previous part of the conversation where I was saying that the rates were going up as courses were being added. And I got to a point literally with all of these grandfathered people where I was like, they're going to have to pay for this, because now I had created another program last year called Studio Shift. This one's all about the transition coming out of one-on-ones into more passivity, because that transition and actually getting your students on board with every change and everything that you're doing, that deserved its own course. So I created a course and I put it inside of the Voicepreneur program. Now the rates are really going up for all new people. And I'm looking at this going, well, shit, I got to make some decisions here. So I either got to raise the rates all together to be this more all-inclusive experience where they can actually get all of these programs and it feel good for everybody, like they're paying into it and I'm feeling good because they're actually showing up to the calls. Because, this is, okay, let's go back to this for a second, because it's really important to talk about this. When people don't invest a lot of money, they don't invest a lot of energy. It's really important that you hear that. When people don't invest a lot of money, they're not going to invest a lot of energy. Maybe in the beginning, but they may not be doing it for very long. There were people who were paying for years inside of the Voicepreneur program, but never showing up to the calls and never doing the work. Like some of them never even logged into a single new course. I was putting out course after course after course after course. Everybody who's in it, you get all access. And they literally never even logged in. Okay. So these are not the people that I wanted inside of my offers. These are not the type of people that we want inside of any of our offers. These are actually sucking it out. Even if they're paying you $25 a month, it's energy that we don't want to continually have because, well, that's a whole separate conversation. Ooh, I'm going on tangents. Okay. Focus, Allie. A lot to talk about here, but that's really, really key and really, really important for this conversation, because these are these two options. I could either raise the rates or I could keep the rates as is and give them half the value. Why half the value? Because I had to stop giving them new courses, right? I had to, if you're going to pay, let's say $150 a month for 6 programs that you have, it could be anything, whatever these programs are, resources. And then you got people paying $25 a month for them. And you're like, okay, look, we gotta, by program number 3, you're like, we have to raise your price a little bit, or you gotta, pay extra to get this program. They have to make a choice, right? And so some of these people, a lot of these people, they did not pay extra for the courses. And a lot of them, like I said, did not even log into the courses that they had. And so they were only getting half of the value. And so this is an important thing as a teacher. It's an important thing as a coach to ask yourself, what type of coach do I want to be, and who do I want to surround myself with? Who do I want to spend my time with? Right? Like, what is your offer logistics? What are the offer logistics, and how do they actually answer that question? And so for me, it reached a point where I was just offering so much. I either needed to charge the teachers additional for every course, or I needed to raise the rates of the program to be all inclusive, and I went with the latter. That's what I decided to do. I raised the rates of the Voicepreneur program, and then I had some fun with it because I was like, all right, if we're going to raise the rates, I'm going to make it all inclusive. We're going to go high level. We're going to go deep. And so we started doing all of these extra things that I didn't actually get to do with the other group because we had a much more intimate experience. I will say this, I loved the second half of 2025. So the first half of 2025, it was like big membership. In July, I made the price changes. And then second half, we went into this small, more intimate cohort, and I loved it. I'm not saying I didn't love it. It was actually, like I said in the beginning, a really great experiment. What a cool experiment. I really wanted to see what was going to happen with that. Because, it's a totally different experience when you have a smaller number of people, right? So the higher the investment, the smaller number of people will join. This is all a numbers game. And then the smaller number of people who join, the more intimate and supportive of an experience you can give them, right? Each person's going to get much longer on, let's say, a group call. They're going to get more context. They're going to get more intimacy, more questions answered, more of a one-on-one lesson or coaching experience. And that last part is what enabled me to actually reduce my one-on-one coaching, because now you could join this high-ticketed, high-level price, this program, VP, and you could essentially get a taste of my one-on-one coaching. It was basically the same thing. That's another thing that you can play with it with the numbers game, where it's like, if you're trying to teach less, then make some sort of membership program, a monthly, subscription offer where they're paying month by month the same rate for a certain period of time. Make that offer higher in the price, because now they're going to have more of that intimate coaching time with you, even if it is on a group class. And there's so many ways that we can structure group classes to make them feel like one-on-ones, which is really what everyone wants. So it's a really great strategy, right? And so, the numbers game, really, when you think about that, and then you're comparing it, is that the lower the investment, the higher number of people will join, as I said before. It is less intimate, but, and this is a big but, it's a big old but, there is more feedback from other people. There's more feedback from other people. There's more community, and there's more support all around, not just with me, but all around, right? And so this is why this is such an interesting conversation to me, and especially memberships and subscriptions, because community and coaching are literally what make a membership. Those two elements, that is what makes a membership. Do you have to have a community? No, not necessarily, but I highly recommend it. Do you have to have coaching? No, not necessarily, but I don't know how well it's going to sell if you don't have some sort of support, right? Because again, that's what people are paying for on a regular basis. It's not just access. What happens when they're done with with the access to your programs? This also enables you to not necessarily have to create more content all the time, right? So I'm going on a tangent again. I literally could talk about memberships all day. It's one of my favorite conversations to have on one-on-ones, because it's what I've been doing for, I think, like a decade now. And I've done it in so many different ways. And it's so fun to think about, because let's go back to why I changed the rates. This is why I changed the rates, because I started craving this year in 2026 more community, more people, just more people. And I think it's really important to always give yourself permission to change your mind, which is its own podcast episode, but B, and more importantly, to always devote to meeting yourself and your people where they're at any given season. And those two things go hand in hand, right? Because seasons change. That's why it's okay to change your mind. So here we are in a new season, in a new freaking year, baby. We are in 2026. Thank fuck. I am so glad we are done with 2025. That was a really hard year. And because it was a really hard year and because I was holding so much, it made perfect sense for me to trim it down and to have more, again, quality and less quantity. Now, 2026, I feel completely different. And I feel different for a lot of different reasons. But one of them is that the thing that I actually really intuitively feel is that, okay, we are in a season of intensity. We are in a really intense time of potential economic collapse, of wars, of layoffs, so much uncertainty around what the future holds, a potential recession here in America. Who the hell knows? I certainly don't know what it holds, right? But I do know that the skills that I teach, singing, music, marketing, branding, messaging, offer creation, everything I teach across the board, they are timeless. And I know that they are what are going to get all of us through these crazy times. They will get you through the hard times, right? Knowing how to sell is a skill that will support you for the rest of your life. Knowing how to leverage online technology and social media and marketing and modernized ways of doing business will support you for the rest of your freaking life. Knowing how to sing, how to teach, how to articulate and share about what you teach, how to write, how to make content, how to use your voice, how to create and sell new offers. All of these things, they will literally support you for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. This is why I changed VP. I recognized how important these skill sets are. How absolutely fucking crucial it is that we learn how to sell, how to market, how to be with the modern times, how to be in the game, right? How to stay in the game. I ain't leaving the game of online business. I never have. And I am here with it. And I want to support you through these absolutely insane times. I want to come together in community and to remind one another that we can do this, that you are not alone. You are not meant to do business alone. You're serious about your voice, so you invest in voice lessons, right? So if you are serious about keeping your business and your income afloat and building these life support skill sets, then you invest in your business. And that is why I wanted to make VP as investable as possible, while also putting a little fire under your booty to ensure that you are doing the work, which is what the entire curriculum is meant to do. I want to build community again. I want to make sure that you know that you are not alone, because you're not. We can do this, and I'm here for you. And I am so fucking excited for you to learn these, again, life-supporting skill sets that will get you through these crazy times. So if you are interested in joining us, come and join us with the links in the show notes. If you are listening to this live in the week of February, February 16th, presale goes, today is the 16th. Tomorrow is the 17th. Look at that. Presale is on the 17th through the 20th. You can join us at the absolute lowest rate of just $75 a month for 12 months. And if you're listening to that after that, no worries. It is still lowered at $95 a month for 12 or 6 months. Check out all the details inside the show notes. I look forward to being on this journey with you. I am so excited about this year, and I'm so excited to support you in this way. And I really want to hear how this conversation has impacted how you think about subscriptions and memberships and your strategy around how you are going to offer some things in your business. All right, let me know on Instagram, and I hope to see you inside of the program.